All right, welcome back. This is a special day, a very special day. We have a new series that we're kicking off called Profiles of Success. And I'm very lucky to have my esteemed colleague and seasoned veteran, Terry Combs, with me. But the truth is, this isn't about me and it isn't about Terry.
Yeah.
We're excited, Terry, because we have one of your special customers. Terry, what's up? What's with that?
Exactly right. Just another successful F2100 Equipment Zone customer.
So in fact, we have the opportunity to interview Royce Timoshevick. I want to make sure I got that right. Did I say that right, Royce?
Very well done.
I've been practicing all morning because I don't want to mess up. I come from a last name that's easy to mess up. And somehow people still get Terry Combs' name wrong. They say Terry Coombs.
I get a lot of Terry Coombs.
Oh, well,
I don't know what to say to that.
we'll just call you a successful business owner, and we will refer to you as Royce the Wonderful. How about that? Is that too much?
I think it might be a little much, but I'm okay with it.
Well, we're excited to have you, Royce, for sure. This is where we're going to interview some of our customers. And we saw some of the work that you did and immediately fell in love with it. So the purpose of this show and this series is to truly catch you doing the great work, putting the spotlight on you. So I hope you're comfortable with us bragging a little bit about you and your work. Does that feel okay?
I am always okay with a little bit of bragging, just a little bit, though.
I love it. I love it. Well, Terry, how exciting for you. You've never really met in person, have you?
We have not, like many of the customers we have at Equipment Zone, Jay, because we sell nationally. Most of our customers we know via email, via these forums like this, and and over the phone, and so it's awesome. And especially since there haven't been very many trade shows, because a lot of trade shows we have people come up and say, "Hey, I wanted to meet you in person," and so this is awesome. I'm loving this and looking forward to having more of these.
I am too. And Royce, we could not have started or picked a better first guest. So this is our inaugural show. Is that how they say it? Terry, I know you're the educated of the two of us. So do we say inaugural?
It is. It's the inaugural show.
Well, look, I've got a couple of slides to share, and let's turn that on right now. And then we'll get back to Royce and ask a couple of quick questions. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are buckled up because I'm going to present some slides and we're going to continue to talk to Royce. And thank you for joining us for Profiles of Success, featuring, as we've already mentioned, Royce. Royce, the name of your company is Think Big, Little People. Think Big, Little People. Tell us a little bit about that. What does that mean?
Well, I think it's all there in the title, but my company is really about thinking big, about thinking outside the box, thinking about bigger ideas. Kids have a lot of amazing creativity, a lot of great perspective. And so that is really where that name came from. It actually came from my middle child, who's now 14. But when she was younger, I said, "What's the biggest thing you can think of?" And she said, "It's love." And so
wow,
where the name came from originally. So,
oh my goodness, that is powerful. How cool is that? Well, you've obviously raised a brilliant 14-year-old. So good on you. But I love the name. It made me stop and wonder. It made me think, because a lot of times people just say Terry's Teas and More, and you're like, that's so lame and cliche. So when I saw Think Big and then it was Little People, I immediately thought of children's wear and kids. And so sure enough, I can't wait to share this because this is what stopped me in my tracks, is this right here. So check this out. Terry, are you seeing what I'm seeing here on my screen?
I am, Jay, and I love it. When we first talked about these great images that Royce is doing, is the conversation was, so many people feel like you get a direct-to-garment printer and it will print a mega bright image on a black t-shirt, and so that's what people are out there hitting you in the face with the graphics. But these are so subtle and so classic that it just it blew us both away.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the subtle classic look, and I found that there is a huge market in children's wear for meaningful clothing, slow fashion clothing, and clothing that is it's still bright and colorful. It still has all the qualities that kids want. I mean, that's what we want for our kids, and I want to put our kids in things that they want, but it's not in your face necessarily, and that's not my style. Although I see everything people print on with their DTG printers, and I think, oh, that would be fun. but yeah, my line style is much more subtle than that, and it seems to be pretty well received. So So
Well,
far, so
that's exciting. Well, let's talk about that. Let's dig in a little bit on the business. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the background, who you are and what you're currently doing so that we can share that with our audience.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so my line is think big, little people. And I think the best business advice I ever got was start with your why. So, rather than saying, I'm going to sell shirts, that is not my why. That's secondary. That's maybe third or fourth down the list. What I'm really doing is, spreading our tagline is, more than just clothing, this is a movement. So really that's where we start, right? I'm starting with what can we offer the world, what can we offer our community, what can we offer our customers, what can we offer that's more than just clothing, but it's an idea and a reason for being. So I did not start anywhere near t-shirts. I actually started sewing one-of-a-kind outfits for my little guy.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is so unique. Now, that's not
Quite a
something
road
we
trip.
know. We don't normally hear that in our world, which is another reason, Terry, that I said we've got to have Royce on.
Right.
Yeah, it was definitely a long and winding road to get here, but it makes total sense. It's clearly where I should be with this business, and so I'm really excited about that. I really feel at home kind of here in this space, so that's pretty exciting for me. But the reason I started with sewing one-of-a-kind outfits was because I am creative and I wanted to use that creativity and put it out into the world and do good with it. Unfortunately, sewing one-of-a-kind items is a one-man show or one-woman show, and there's not that many hours in the day. So trying to make that into a business that could support my family, I knew that was not from the get-go. I knew that wasn't going to happen. So from there, I moved into manufacturing items, but really my biggest seller was the shirts that I had designed, and so I knew that after that initial release, I knew that shirts was where I wanted to go. I learned a few things in that. I knew that I want to manufacture my own shirts rather than buying blanks, which I know that's not possible for a lot of people. But for me, that makes a lot of sense because I have a background in that area. And then when you guys are all out of shirts because they're all stuck on freighter, I still have shirts.
We'll talk about a unique value proposition. That's pretty powerful right there. So
Right.
I love that. I love the fact that you didn't really start out with the vision of, I want to be an apparel decorator. I want to have a t-shirt business. It sounds like you really had a different vision, a different why. And thank you for sharing that because it's powerful. And I think it'll be really interesting to see the reaction from a lot of our viewers. But tell us when you started. When did you start it sounds like it's been a process, like a journey maybe, but when did you start with the printing of t-shirts? When did that hit
So actually my first big manufactured line, which included t-shirts that I had printed from a nice reputable t-shirt printer here in the Sacramento area. Though that was actually just last summer. I just did my first collection last summer.
Wow.
But like I said, the reception for the shirts was actually far more than I expected it to be. But I knew, for me with that collection, it was a loss leader. I knew that I was not going to make money having somebody else print my shirts.
Gotcha.
It's just, you guys know the costs. It's just not that doable to have somebody else print your shirts and put them out there. So when you're printing them yourself, it makes a lot more sense. Especially with the ink, my designs aren't really, pigment intensive. So, I know they had to charge me for their labor, which makes sense because as we know, DTG is more labor intensive than some other shirt design type of things. I had to pay for the labor, but I wasn't really using much ink. So it made a lot of sense for me to look into actually owning my own printer. So that's what brought me to Equipment Zone was knowing that in order to make the shirts make money, that I needed to do it myself, which I actually like the process. So
that's so smart. And it's such an interesting reveal because I love the fact that you kind of through the process of discovery and actually doing it, you realized maybe this kind of outsourcing isn't a perfect fit for me and your vision and your why, what your movement was all about. But now looking at this, I get it because it seems almost like there's like a watercolor feel to these. Like you are definitely an artist. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, I don't know if I'm really an artist. I'm very crafty. I have a background.
Terry,
I have a
that's
background in
code
crafts.
for humble right there. Let's just
Yeah, I do have a background in crafts. I used to, my first business I owned was a paint your own ceramic studio. So I know a thing or two about paint. I've been crafty my whole life. But yeah, so these are hand watercolored. All the designs are original. My kids inspire me with things that they talk about and things that they're interested in and things like that. My customers inspire me. Just going around the internet inspires me. I mean, there's a lot out there to be inspired by. But I love, that's when I gave up sewing one of a kind items. I didn't want to give up the creativity entirely. So this really is such a great mesh for me of being able to be creative on a daily basis. Really putting, my work out there, but being able to fulfill, my goals, financially. So.
Well, and Royce, it sounds like that you had the concept, you believed in the concept, but you jobbed it out there, and then you proved the concept, and then you decided, I'm going to go out and invest.
Yeah, printers aren't free. And so, so doing a little background.
Let's quote Royce on that, by the way. That's going to be that'll be a quote that we have in the show notes. I don't even know if we have show notes, Terry, but printers aren't free. I love that.
Right. Should be, but no.
We get it. We feel you.
Right, exactly. But it's such a worthwhile investment. And like I said, I could not have made money doing what I'm doing and doing really what I love without my own printer. And the upside of all of that is I actually really love the process of the DTG printer. I mean, like I said, I come from a background of a paint your own ceramic studio. I am used to big equipment, those kilns get to, 2000 degrees and they're, 7 cubic feet, they're large. So I'm used to equipment like that. I'm used to physical labor. I like moving around. I like getting out there and doing something. I'm not a sit in front of my desk kind of person. So the printing process for me is really rewarding. I mean, and I love seeing it come out of the
right.
I could lift that lid up every time. But.
I know we all feel that way. It's like the reveal. You get excited. You're like, my masterpiece is about to see itself for the first time. I love
totally. So,
well, we all come to this industry from different directions, but we all stay because of the creativity, because of that, looking at that print going, wow, that's really, really cool.
It really is. And also I want to point out that one of the other things I really love about shirts in general, DTG printing is like I said, I'm more crafty than artistic. I love functional art. Ceramics is a good example. I generally don't hang things on my walls, in my home. I don't go and find, pictures or artwork to hang, but I fill my walls with functional things that I think look beautiful. And the same thing for shirts. I think it's great that we can walk around with artwork on our fronts. I think that's pretty amazing. And so I love the idea of, having something usable out of something beautiful. So,
Royce, did the fact that the Epson inks, the Epson pre-treat are certified safe for children's apparel, was that part of your decision making?
Yes, and that they're eco-friendlier than other options. Yeah, definitely. And again, part of the reason I wanted to bring printing in-house was so that I could be sure that I was being the most eco-friendly I could be. When I'm sure a lot of t-shirt shops, they have a lot of extra blank shirts that they get and they print them and didn't work and they try another one. That's not my style. It doesn't represent my brand. So for me, I like to be able to I just take fabric off the rolls. Since I'm manufacturing my own, I have the fabric. I just take fabric off the rolls. I can print, in a 12 by 12 or 16 by 20, space. I can print a bunch of different things. I don't have to worry about sleeves being in the way and that kind of thing. So for me, bringing that printing in-house was another way that I could support the message of my brand. So, but yeah, them being, eco-friendlier and safer and better and all those things absolutely is actually one of the reasons that I decided to do t-shirts at all. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, so Royce, you zeroed in on Epson. How did you zero in on Equipment Zone?
So when I decided I definitely wanted to do it, I knew it was going to be a success, or I was pretty darn sure it was going to be a success. I, like everybody, I looked all over the internet. I did ask somebody else I knew who was printing what printer she had. She mentioned the F2100. said she would highly recommend it. And so I started looking into that, obviously found that it was really the best option out there. I mean, I think everything on the internet basically points to it for this kind of work. And so I had looked at a few other, different distributors and seen a few different options and things like that. Given that the pricing is basically the same, the options are basically, I mean, there's not a lot of difference out there in the industry. Obviously, all the printers basically are about the same, or all the F21s are basically about the same. What really set you guys apart is, for me, knowing that I was going to be manufacturing and need to drop a chunk of change on fabric in the near future, being able to finance it with your easy finance.
Gotcha.
That was a game changer for me. I probably could have swung it the other way, but this makes me feel I just have more of a cushion. And I feel like the terms were good. It was easy to do. You walked me through it. It was, it was simple. It was, it couldn't have been easier. It was like easier than buying a car. So, it was simple.
And we didn't show you the undercoating after.
Right, exactly. So the financing and also the training that was, included in it, just in general, the vibe I got, because I had talked to a few sales guys and the vibe wasn't as great. So
hey, Terry's got a good vibe.
He's got a good vibe. Exactly. So yeah, I just felt really comfortable with it. I also noticed you guys are everywhere. Definitely there's a ton of people that are mentioning Equipment Zone as a place that they would buy things from. So I felt confident that you guys were the guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big deal. Thank you for sharing that with us. It is close to our heart, and we do try to. We're not perfect. We know we're far from that, but it's great that some of what we're putting out there, people are responding to it. And you came to a great conclusion with a great Epson printer. And of course, we're going to brag about ourselves for a minute and say, thank goodness you chose us. But I'm not surprised that you picked up on Terry's great vibe, because he truly has always, since I've known him, even before both of us worked at Equipment Zone, we knew each other previously. Many years. Terry's always had a great vibe, and he's always tried to make sure that it was the right fit for you. Mm-hmm. Like, rather than Terry just trying to sell you something, he probably asked you a bunch of questions and tried to figure out, is this a good match? Because that's just how he is. That's how he rolls.
Right. Yes, absolutely. That's experience. In fact, I had a lot of questions for him, which he very patiently answered all of them and gave me more information than I asked for, which I always appreciate, because you don't know what you don't know. And so I might ask him, do I need this platen? And he'd say, well, you need this one. And if you're doing these size shirts, you might want to consider this one, that type of thing. And in the end, I got what I did need. I ended up going back and getting one more platen that will work better for my shirts. But yeah, he got me just what I needed and not more.
I love it. Well, we've got a couple more slides I can't wait to share. I wish I didn't have to give everybody a sneak peek of all of my slides, but that's just the way it's going to roll today. But this truly, for me, it was an emotional connection. I just need you to know, Royce, I don't often have those types of reactions. There are certain things that are nostalgic to me. It might be my upbringing. It might be background, the way I was raised, where I was raised. Certain things like surfing and skiing and skateboarding will always be part of my culture. But also this, when I saw the little guy with his hat on, out and about, like in discovery, not a care to the world, playing, and then that shirt that says I'm a builder. I was really touched, Royce. And this is why I couldn't wait to have you on, because I'm sure not everyone's having that same reaction. But I don't have any grandkids yet, but I can tell you what, I really hope you're still in business, because I can't wait to give you some of my own money to say, or maybe it's to my nieces and nephews, and say, hey, this is something I can't wait for you to experience, because it's more than a t-shirt. It's almost like your movement when you said that, and you've put so much of your own passion and energy, and you made the clothes. You didn't just print something, but then again, you've got this great graphic. So it all works for me. Hits me in the heart. Let me just tell you.
Love that. That's the goal, right? I really do want you to have like an emotional connection. And like you say, maybe you don't have a little kid who's into, front loaders, but somewhere in one of those designs, you will find something. We all love ice cream. There really is something. And I really do want it not only to be great for kids. I wanted this to be like the shirt they want to pull right out of the dryer and put on.
I love that.
It never even gets folded. It just goes right back on.
Well, what a great description that is.
Yeah,
they're wonderful and they're adorable. And
They truly are. We call those at my house, we call those the keepers. Those are the ones that actually make it to the drawer, go in the closet. They're not going to Goodwill. They're not going to,
Right,
they're going to be,
exactly.
we're keeping those. We're pretty proud of those. Well, as you know, you did make the selection, and this is the portion of our interview where we say, and brought to you by Epson SureColor F2100, the direct garment printer of choice by professional printers and decorators like Royce. Did you see how I did that? Did you see how that rhymed? I've been working on that all morning as well.
Impressive.
But we do have a couple of other things we want to share with you and with our audience, and that have you kind of elaborate on. I'd love to hear about the process. Maybe you could take a minute and say, how do you get to this? Like, especially the ones on the right, because they just immediately tell me that you're some kind of an artist, you have some kind of a watercolor background, or am I wrong?
Well, yeah, really, it's just the ceramic. I mean, like I said, I've been crafting my whole life. So I am one of those people that can look at something and go, oh, like I'll go to an art gallery and be like, well, I could make that. So no offense to the artists, because I really want them to buy things for me. But I'm just, I usually can recreate things that I like, or ideas, that I can look at something and say, I can see how they did this, or watch a tutorial and figure something out. So yes, in that way, I think that there's some amount of skill or talent that I might have there. But in terms of like the design, I mean, that's really where it all started. Those were two of my very first designs. And you can actually see, if you look at my newer ones, you can actually see the evolution. The bus is actually a newer one, but the evolution of my artwork, you can see it in the designs. But that aside, I started with these two shirts and one other that said plant kindness, because it's really, all I have to do is sit down and think about what think big little people really means. And, ideas start popping into my head. I have a list on my phone of, ideas that I want to do. And when I get stuck, I'll go back to those and try and pull something from it. But I am a list maker. I do love a list. So, but
I knew there was a reason I liked you. I'm a list person too.
Oh yeah, I gotta have a list. I like to mark.
Okay, so but Terry, she made a big distinction. She has her phone that she's making a list on.
Oh, I do.
Okay, Royce, get ready for this. Terry's about to show you his phone with his list. Here we go.
My junior yellow legal pad. I buy them by the case.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. I actually have a paper list too, because it depends on where I'm at. But yeah, the world changer one was actually an idea I had from the get-go way back when, and it was one that I knew that I wanted to do, because that's really, in essence, what I'm asking people to do when they think big, is to change the world for the better. So
I love that. That's great. It's a easy thing for us to understand, but yet it's artistic and fun still. So your messaging isn't lost, but at the same time, you're able to identify. And I hope it's been a success. I mean, that's the whole point. We've been calling this series the Profile of Success. And so there had to have been some challenges, and there had to have been a learning curve. There maybe was an experience or two where they were slightly setbacks on your climb to success. Royce, can you share any of those? Is there anything that you could lead us to? We don't want any tears now. Just
I'm over it. I can tell you this.
But the truth, the reality of the learning curve, we also don't want to pull any punches.
No. So from the journey from day one of Think Big Little People to here, it has been a long and windy road. And I started with a grander plan in mind. I knew that I was going to start small when my little one was still at home, and I knew I wanted to build a foundation and make it bigger, but what that actually looked like, I really did not know. So, it wasn't until about a year and a half ago that I sat down and wrote a business plan. And even since then, that's changed, because the t-shirts really changed things. Like I said, I did a spring summer collection, and I put a lot of money into manufacturing, and I probably could have gone just straight for the shirts. Of course, I didn't know that at the time. There was no way for me to know that my shorts and pants and things like that wouldn't sell as well as I had thought they would. So, a little bit of a low, but the high was that, the shirts turned out to be a huge seller. And so, you live and learn, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Once I got once I got the printer in here, I will tell you, Terry knows this, you always told me humidity, the printer likes humidity. And I went out and I bought a humidifier, and I have a very small space, and I put the humidifier in the only place it would go, which was behind the printer. And guess what? Humidity is condensation just waiting to sit on the board of your printer. Don't put the humidifier near the printer.
It does not require it. You do not have to set that little guy underneath the printer, is what you're saying.
Because the cooling fan just sucked that humidity right in. Anyway, needless to say, I frantically emailed Terry and said, what have I done wrong when my printer shut down? And he so generously gave me the number for the Epson service department, which of course it's under warranty, so it was no problem. They came right out, they did what they needed. In fact, it had actually repaired itself by the next day when it all dried out. So anyway, needless to say, Epson service is awesome. It was quick, it was efficient, it cost me nothing because it was under warranty. Terry helped me out. I was glad to report the next day that it had been fixed. I'm sure he was relieved too. So we were back to printing. But I will say, I think, coming from a background with large kilns that get very hot, I will say, don't be afraid of anything. I think that's my best advice. Don't be afraid of your printer. Try all the settings, try all the, obviously you have to use your brain, but, try the things. It's basically almost foolproof, right? Like the platinum's not going to hit the printer. I mean, there's a lot of like safety things involved. You really can't go too wrong. So try all the things, if you read about something, try it and see if you like it. And maybe it does a little better, or maybe you don't like that. I mean, there's no harm in trying. And wouldn't you rather get a product out there that is top of the line, the best that you can produce, than to say, well, I wasn't sure. I didn't really want to try that.
Right. No, we 100% agree. And thank you for saying it, because it needs to be said from your voice, not ours. We're constantly saying that, aren't we, Terry?
Oh, absolutely. And that's the beauty of this industry. Most everybody in it's a creative person. So experiment, do new and different things, or do traditional things, but do them a little bit better. So
Right. Yeah.
And thank goodness that you did not have an epic disaster in your hands when there was a little condensation on your printer. I mean, that speaks both to the system that is in place, first of all. So thank you for mentioning that with the warranty, and Epson does do a phenomenal job. We are constantly impressed. We are constantly impressed that within 48 hours, often 24 hours, someone's knocking on your door with parts ready to help you. It's just, you just don't get that service these days. And the fact that you reached out to Terry first, I love that too. That's a great part of the story I didn't know. And Terry, I mean, what was that like for you to get that call? You were like, uh-oh.
No. I knew that most any call I get, I know there's going to be a simple solution. And I blame myself for saying a humidifier one too many times. So this is super important. I'm going to put it right here next to it. That's on me.
It wasn't so much that it was important. It's like there's just no space. So I have a very limited space. It is one of the things that Terry does bring up very often, because we both know that that's kind of the sweet spot for that printer. And it's not unique just to the Epson printer, but we're lucky in that we have this situation, and we're in Arizona, as you know. So for us, it's a must. We cannot really operate without it. We would not have the success that we have. So I'm glad that you learned that lesson. Thrilled to hear that you did not have a giant crash and burn moment, quite the contrary, and that Terry was there for you. It sounds like it all came together and it worked out. It really, it's what you want, right? It's when you sign up for these things, it's exactly what you want. Something's going to go wrong eventually. You just hope it's going to be easily resolved. So, and better to learn early.
Well, yeah, exactly right. So looking back at those awesome graphics, is there one job that you did that you're most proud of? Was it the first initial 3 shirts that you produced?
I learned so much from those. I really see the value in those, but they're not my proudest works. I'm actually, I think, Jay, you had actually picked up on that penguin that I had posted in your Facebook group, or the Facebook.
Oh, yes. I wish I had that to share, but you know what? That gives us a reason for people to go visit your Facebook page and visit your website. Exactly. So you have to be in search of that penguin. It's beyond adorable.
It's not there yet. Don't look yet.
Whoops.
No, but don't look yet, because here's the thing is what I'm most proud of is, so that is actually for a collaboration I'm doing with another clothing company who does not put their own things.
Okay.
So yeah, so she's up in the Pacific Northwest, up in Oregon. And so yeah, so we work together, put our heads together on some animals that live up there. It's actually a puffin, the horned puffin.
Oh, right. It's a puffin. That's right.
So anyway, so yeah, so there's 3 designs, that one and well, I'm not going to give it away. There's a couple others that we worked on that she and I came up with. She's actually, she owns a clothing company, but she's a marine biologist by trade. So we came up with a few things.
How cool is
I love
that?
Her brand. Yeah. And so those will release early next year when her spring summer collection comes out early next year. So, but I'm particularly proud about that because, well, first of all, her company is much larger than mine. So for me, this is a huge boon.
Nice.
And for her to want to work with me is, it kind of gives me the warm and fuzzies. So that's kind of cool.
Good for you. It should.
Yeah.
That should be the reaction you have. I'm excited for you.
So I have that one, and then I'm working on another collaboration with another company. So I can foresee, these being a large part of my path to success in this business is looking outside of just my own brand and looking at other avenues that I can explore that aren't solely, I'm going to sell you a shirt. So.
Very good. Well, depending on when you're viewing this, it either is or is not on Royce's website. So it's a Schrodinger's cat of t-shirts. It is or it is not.
That's right, exactly. You might hit that sweet spot where it's right there. Either way, go look.
Yeah, go look.
Yeah, I think you should go look. I think you might find something that might hit your hot button, like this one. If you want to be a helper, I hope that's also available. But I did pick this. I picked this off of your Facebook page. It was really cool. It kind of complimented the front loader. And I love the fact that you're also, I don't know if you're doing this on purpose. This is just totally a question we did not prepare for, but it seems like you're very much aware of what kids are into, what kids are doing, and the activity of it. So that part I think, and I found kind of refreshing. Like it's not just, there's nothing wrong with Iron Man or any Marvel characters. Right. It's just, this is kind of more organic, if that's the right word. I'm not sure.
And in fact, my shirts are organic, but yes, yes.
What?
I mean, it's amazing, but yes, you're right. I mean, I really want this to be a reflection of what kids want to wear. Like they're not going to run to the dryer and pull it out and want to put it on again if it's something they're not into, if it's not something they're interested in. And so I like to listen to my customers' kids. They'll say, oh, my kid, in fact, I just had a request for a blue Bronco, so we might see that shortly.
Oh, right on.
So poor Bronco. Anyway, so, I really do try and look, and I have 3 kids of my own. So, I definitely am around children, and I like kids, and I like to see how their brains work and what they're thinking of and the way they work. And so yeah, that plays a huge part into what I decide I'm going to paint and put on shirts.
That's so cool. I love the artisticness of this. The artistry, I guess, is the right way to phrase that. Forgive me for not getting it correctly. So I am going to flash up your Facebook page so people can go see more. There is a lot more to discover there. They will see both decorated apparel and undecorated apparel, but think big, little people. You're in the Sacramento area, which doesn't really matter much, but the fact of the matter is, just to give a reference for shipping on where some of this might be coming from, I assume you're still packaging and taking care of the shipping yourself, Royce. Is that true?
Yes, I am. It's a one-woman show over here.
she's a one-woman show, crushing it, that's for sure. And then also people can find your website, thinkbiglittlepeople.com. Again, shopping for blanks or shopping for printed goods. So it's been such a treat for us to have you. Is there anything else that we should know about Think Big Little People, or the process, or anything you want to close us out with, Royce?
I really think we covered it all, but I really kind of want to go back to that idea, that great advice somebody once gave me, which is find your why. Because let's face it, a lot of people can buy printers and or lease them or whatever. But really, if you have something more important something that really pushes you as a business owner, I think, you know, your shirts are going to be that much better. How you offer them is going to be better. You're going to have more to talk about on social media. You're going to have more to talk about with your friends. You know, it's going to make your life easier as a business person if you know why you're selling t-shirts.
So smart. It's great advice, Terry.
It's all about passion, and obviously, Royce, that's what you have.
Oh, thank you.
Royce, we're lucky to have you on. It's been such a blast. And thank you for your advice. Thank you for your passion, sharing your artistry. I can't wait for the rest of our audience to see this edition of Profiles of Success. That's all we have, kids. For now, we're going to say goodbye. I hope you can watch other sessions of Profiles of Success soon. We're grateful for our relationship with our clients and can't wait to do this again with more. So if you're interested in this, you can reach out to myself or Terry. I'm Jay Bassell, and I'm the marketing guy. He's Terry Combs. He's the sales guy. We're both highly interested in your success, which is why we created this series. So thanks again, Royce. I hope we meet soon in real life.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe I'll head out to Arizona.
or maybe we'll catch each other at a reunion in Long Beach or some other industry event that hopefully happens this year. Cross your fingers, Terry.
Yes, let's all cross our fingers. Yes.
I love it.
Nice meeting you guys in person-ish.
I love that. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks a lot. Bye.